Now will we see the magic?
All right, where's Murray? Okay, who is it?
This is Jesus, Kent.
Know then that it is the year 10,191.
Yes, we are bored. We're all bored now.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
Hello, and welcome to Mary vs. the Movies with your host, Mary Jones.
And Dennis Lang.
And
What are you laughing at?
I don't know. You just sound so, excited.
Yay.
Yeah. Well, you should be excited because we're going to watch a movie that you remember fondly, but I don't know anything about except for one little thing, and it has Robert Preston in it.
Yep.
So this is episode 66? Yeah, episode 66.
Does Tom Sharpling count as an episode?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That counts as an episode much more than, the silent movie episode counts as an episode.
What?
Look. There's a lot more work went into the Sharpling interview than you sitting for 4 minutes and 33 seconds and coughing once. I admire what you did. I think
recorded
it was great.
it all.
Look, again, I thought it was a great idea, especially because I couldn't hear anything that week.
Yeah.
But there's an asterisk against that title. I know. There's no asterisk against the last episode. So this is episode 66.
Okay.
And I'm glad you accepted this.
Yeah.
So episode 66 is The Last Starfighter, which is a movie that you remember very fondly and which I don't really know anything about.
Yep. I talked to you about it a lot.
You know what? You talk to me about a lot of things. So
These are important tidbits I'm throwing at you.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are you going to tell me about your high score in Yar's Revenge or something next?
Do you want to know?
Sure.
Actually, I wasn't really a big fan of Yar's Revenge, but Wormwar 1, by the way.
Okay,
Fantastic sound
Fine.
effects.
Fine.
Wormwar 1.
Worm War 1.
Yeah, any Atari 2600 fans out there, if you know Wormwar 1, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, I had an Atari 2600, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, so you're a tank. There's giant worms going back and forth. You're moving forward. And
So is this just a Dune ripoff?
No.
Giant worms?
Giant worms.
That's Dune.
Yeah, but these guys are inching along. They're not, bursting along.
Oh, come on. This is just Dune with tanks.
Yeah, well, but I think there's buildings and stuff, and you're driving through buildings and
So the reason this is relevant is because as far as I'm aware, The Last Starfighter is what? A guy who's good at video games gets recruited to go and fight a space war?
maybe. Maybe that's an Enemy Mine.
What?
Maybe that's Enemy Mine.
What is Enemy Mine?
That's another one.
Oh, good. Is it from the 80s?
I think so. It's kind of along the same vein.
Oh,
In fact,
good.
I kind of get the two of them confused. In another universe, if it was Dennis versus the movies, I would be doing Last Starfighter versus Enemy Mine, even though I'd seen both of them. It would be a much different show, probably not as good.
Well, the thing about Dennis versus the movies is you've probably already seen the movie, you just don't remember any of it.
Exactly.
So we're going to go and watch this. I don't really know anything about it. I assume it has to do with a guy who's good at video games and is sent to space to fight somebody. And they got Robert Preston. And that's very weird to me because I think of Robert Preston as a Broadway star. He is famously the Music Man. Mm-hmm. All right. I love The Music Man. I have seen it many times. I love the movie. I listened to the Broadway cast recording. I know The Music Man by heart. The only person who knows the Music Man better than I do, I guess, is probably Conan O'Brien. I think of Robert Preston as Broadway, very big sort of performance. Now, I know he was also in Victor Victoria, which is on our list because I've never seen that, and I know he's in that. And so he has a movie career.
So what sci-fi film do you think it's like?
Well, I mean, I've made the joke a couple of times that I assume it's just Tron in space.
Yeah.
I think the idea of let's recruit a guy to fight for war in space, I just keep thinking of Ender's Game, although that's a little bit different I don't really know what this is like because I guess it's nothing like Starman. I don't know, man. Like a guy who's good at video games says, "Hey, come fight a war." I mean, I don't know, The Matrix.
Okay. I'm trying to get you to like guess something that's not
War
actually,
Games?
Actually, the movie.
Do you want me to
okay,
say War
maybe.
Games?
Sure, why not? I don't know.
Sure, I'll say War Games. I like War Games. I've seen War Games
Yeah.
more than once. It's a great movie. I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to pull from me.
Nothing. Don't worry.
All right, so shall we go watch whatever the heck the last Starfighter is?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you got trouble, my friend. Right here, I say trouble right here in River City. Why, sure, I'm a billiard player. Certainly mighty proud to say I'm always mighty proud to say it. I consider that the hours I spend with a cue in my hand are golden. Help me cultivate horse sense and a cool head and a keen eye. Did you ever take and try to give an ironclad leave to yourself from a 3-rail billiard shot? But just as I say it takes judgment, brains, and maturity to score in a bop-line game, I say that any boob can take and shove a ball in a pocket. And I call that sloth. The first big step on the road to the depths of degradation. I say first, medicinal wine from a teaspoon, then beer from a bottle.
So Star Wars is a toy commercial inspired by Kurosawa and World War II movies. This is a toy commercial inspired by toy commercials. But it has a side story, a romance story inspired by beer commercials.
I think if I had seen this movie as a kid, I would have really liked it.
Yeah.
I would.
I still like it. It's just that it's pretty thin.
I've heard of thin gruel, but this is water. I mean,
and the girlfriend, like, this is like, there's not much there.
it's a shame. Do you know why it's a shame?
Why?
I just realized this. I just found this out.
What?
She's played by Catherine Mary Stewart.
Yeah.
Do you know who that is?
No.
That's the chick from The Apple.
Oh no.
Right?
No.
What a waste.
Oh.
Seriously, that's her singing Speed. Right.
Speed.
Yeah, well, kind of like that.
Man.
I know. And she's got nothing here. She's not even a damsel in distress. She's just the girl back home that's not doing nothing.
This hurts.
She's not a person.
Yeah.
Nobody's a person in this. Well, Robert Preston's a personality.
Well, Robert Preston is his character from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's the Music Man.
Yeah.
Although apparently he's also Merlin.
Yeah.
Okay, briefly, here's the idea. Because I don't want to say that there's not a lot to talk about, but the idea is here's a kid who lives in a trailer park in California, and he's playing the video game that they have at the office, like, the kind you see in an arcade.
Yeah.
And it is, what, Starfighter?
Yep.
And one night he wins the game, more or less. That is what tips off Robert Preston's character. Hey, this is the guy we need to come and save our space opera people. So when he presents the kid to whatever the High Council or whatever nonsense, they say, "Oh, did you do the Excalibur trick or something?"
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "Oh, is this like covert King Arthur?" Yeah. And it is, because I just looked at the IMDb, and apparently the dude who wrote the script was reading The Once and Future King. And he's like, yeah, I want to do that, but with video games. That's fine. And actually, this is a very good version of that, because they don't hit you over the head with it too much, except for that one line.
Yeah.
It is not a bad example of being inspired by something else. They don't keep bringing up Arthurian parallels or anything like that. So it's fine. But at the same time, when I hear and wink, wink, nudge, nudge. By the way, Robert Preston, he's also Merlin. I'm just like, now, this whole time I thought the 8th Doctor was Merlin, but hey, what do I know?
7th Doctor.
Was it the 7th Doctor? Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. He is the 7th Doctor. Oh, no, my credibility is gone with the nerds.
Paul McGann is the 8th Doctor.
Yes, you're right. Paul McGann is the 8th Doctor.
Followed by the War Doctor.
Yes. All right. But the point being, people always want to be like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This guy's actually Merlin. And sometimes it works great.
Yeah.
I really love, there's a kids, like a YA series called The Dark is Rising, which is built all around that. And it works really well. And sometimes it's kind of an eye roll, like in this. Although I don't mind, because I love Robert Preston in this.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing, but it's a thing that I love. So it's fine. And if he wants to be Merlin, okay. But I rolled my eyes a little bit. But you know what? Again, it's fine, because this is a movie for kids. And if there's anything that's for kids, it's the story of the Sword and the Stone.
Right.
And that's essentially what this is.
Yeah.
but as you say, filtered through a toy commercial because there's just nothing here, man. You know, it's space opera.
And production-wise, it just feels like a TV movie.
Production-wise, it looks like Space Mutiny.
Yeah.
You know, if you've seen that MST3K episode, which by the way you should, it's one of their best ones in the late run. Like this is what it looks like.
It's not a late run anymore.
No, you're right. That's not late run, but of the Mike era.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put it that way. That's basically what all the sets here look like. Which is funny because on the one hand, I'm looking at this, I'm like, it doesn't look that good. It really gives you an appreciation for just how good Star Wars looks. Because Star Wars lets itself be dirty and use like kind of physical props that look kind of janky at times.
Yeah.
So that it has a lived-in feel and it looks realistic. Like that original trilogy looks great.
Right.
Okay. This looks a little too cardboard, right down to a cardboard DeLorean as a spaceship.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That looks terrible. Like, I'm sure it looked fine in 84, but I'm watching this and I'm just like, no, I'm pretty sure I could build one of those with boxes.
You may have noticed I kept trying to get you to guess different things about this movie. And the reason why is that you guessed everything right.
This was not hard to figure out.
It's such a generic film. Even like down to Starman, the subplot of it is Starman.
It really is. I was not expecting that. The subplot is, so when he decides to go and join, I don't know, the rebellion, the resistance, whatever you want to call it, against whatever evil space monsters are attacking the good space monsters.
There are two different evil space monsters.
Oh, see, that's the thing. I couldn't even follow that part. This is, you know how I complained that I found Dune a little hard to follow the first time I saw it?
Yeah.
You know, when we watched it for this episode. And then when I watched Dune, the Villeneuve version, I was just like, okay, I get what's going on. Yeah. This was so much worse. I had no idea what was going on.
It'll make sense when the remake comes out.
What?
It was like, what, 2018 or 2019? Someone really wants to make a remake of this. So.
Well, yeah, because I have a feeling there's a lot of Gen Xers who saw this and like loved it and were like, I want to make like my version of that.
It should be a video game. Should just be a video game.
Yes.
And that's it. Just
it
like cutscenes, like, you know, like use the Robert Preston voice.
It's basically Asteroids meets Missile Command, which I was great at Missile Command.
Hey, my boy.
Yeah. You know what? Make me a video game of this. You know, dub in Robert Preston talking to me, add cutscenes. Fine. Yeah. Done. A movie? Now, at least it wasn't a long movie. Yeah. But a movie? It's real thin. I don't know. I'm being harsh on this, and I shouldn't be, because I don't think it's bad. But it's weird how it looks kind of cheap, and there's no real character in it.
The CGI is probably the most dated CGI there is. You haven't seen Tron, right?
As we discussed, I watched Tron.
I don't think that counts.
In a club, not sober. So, it does not count.
So the thing about Tron is that all the CGI stuff is in a different dimension. So
right.
It doesn't really matter that it looks as bad as it does. Because it's like, this is not reality where it's happening.
Right.
This is Lawnmower Man world.
This is a B movie.
Yeah.
This is totally a B movie, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being a B movie. I can totally understand why people enjoy this. I think the problem here is I'm coming to it as a middle-aged person. No, I'm dead serious. If I saw this when I was young, I would have loved it. And I think anybody who has affection for this movie as an adult because they saw it when they were a kid is totally correct. Because here's the thing. I have that feeling towards Star Wars. I'm sure if you showed an adult Star Wars now, they probably wouldn't get it. Or they'd be like, whatever, who cares? Like, me, I love it. Okay? I think it's the same thing. I think Star Wars looks better and is probably better directed and has, real characters and stuff. But see, here's the thing. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing that thing because I have affection for Star Wars because I grew up with it. It's one of the first things I remember seeing as a kid.
The original Star Wars, it did look bad.
Did it?
Yeah, there was these squares around the TIE fighters.
Oh man!
And I mean the sets looked good. There was a lot of weird effects that got fixed with the special editions and stuff.
Because that's the other thing. I'm watching it on an old TV.
Yeah.
Through VHS. I don't know if it looks bad because it's blurry. By today's standards. So maybe the original Star Wars looked as bad as this.
I don't know if it's that bad.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. And they went and fixed it, is what you're saying. Yeah. And that's a really good point. Again, I'm watching this movie, The Last Starfighter, now. Mm-hmm. And so the reaction I'm having to it is not going to be the reaction somebody would have had in 1984. And it's not the reaction that somebody who was young would have had.
Yeah.
Because I know there are a lot of people who really like this movie. And I don't think they're wrong for liking it.
Right.
I've seen bad movies, right? Like, there's nothing in this that's terrible.
I wonder if this was ever done with riff tracks.
Oh, that's a good question. Do you know
That'd be a
what?
good
Do you know
one.
what they apparently did do is make a musical of this, which I don't understand at all. How?
How could you not? It's got Robert Preston.
But the movie doesn't have any music in it.
I hate every ship I see.
Yeah. Okay.
It works.
No, I mean that's what's weird is you here you have Robert Preston, and they use him actually really well. I think he's so much fun in this.
Yeah.
But it's weird then to go ahead in, I think it was like 2009 or maybe it was like later than that somebody went and made a musical of this.
Yeah.
Like that's a like, what would you do In fact, I was reading IMDb just before we went on, and like, you know, somebody, I don't know if it was the director, said that I kind of saw this as a musical just without the music. I'm like, well, that's just called a movie. That's just a film. What is a musical without music except a play? So like, no, it's not a musical. So I don't know what the musical would be. I mean, that's an interesting idea. Let's put the opera back in space opera. Sure.
Yeah.
I think there should be more of that. Why not? Instead of, you know, singing about trolls and the Nibelungenlied, you know, let's sing about, you know, space monsters. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I don't know what I have no idea what this opera would or musical or whatever would be like though. Actually, that would be kind of interesting if we made more musicals or like operas about science fiction. I mean, I don't see why we don't do it. They made an opera of Lord of the Rings. Well, that seems like kind of, you know, easy to do because you've got Wagner sitting right there as your inspiration.
Yeah.
But I don't know of how often anyone has made a musical or opera or anything like that of science fiction, unless you count things like Frankenstein as science fiction, which technically it is, but you know what I mean. Space operas.
There's a Frankenstein one?
I may have made that up. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh.
Anyway, the point is, that's all 19th century science fiction, does not count for what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you know, aliens in space and battles and all that nonsense.
John Carter.
John Carter of Mars. You know, that's, well, that's problematic. And I didn't see that movie either. But John Carter's kind of interesting, you know, just as a side. Well, actually, that's relevant.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of the same thing, isn't it? The whole idea of like John Carter of Mars is that he ends up, you know, he's a Confederate soldier or general or something who ends up on Mars and helps lead a battle and all this. It gets the Princess of Mars and stuff. That's that like, okay, so that actually is kind of the origin point for a lot of space fiction.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's funny you bring that up. I wasn't even thinking about it. Like, yeah, John Carter of Mars is relevant here as much as King Arthur is.
Right.
You know, so but it's weird because so this movie is very much borrowing from a lot of other stuff, and it feels like it's borrowing from a lot of other stuff. And that's a problem with this movie because nobody feels like a well-defined character. They feel like a type. Alex, our lead, isn't really anything. Weirdly enough, Beta Alex is great. He has more personality, and apparently all of that stuff was filmed later.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: so like when he goes off into space, they leave behind like he's not really a robot exactly. He's kind of he has flesh, but they have to grow the flesh, and he physically grows into being like a beta version of Alex.
Yeah, it's kind of like Starman.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like by the way, Starman's going on at the same time as, you know, this stupid adventure. Beta Alex, like there's this scene where he's growing underneath the sheet, and it's like the same gross out scene as like Starman, you know, like, ew, that's not a human. Ugh.
So there's a whole subplot where Beta Alex is on Earth. He has to maintain the romance with Alex's, you know, more or less girlfriend Maggie.
Yeah, and he sleeps in a bunk with his brother and stuff. And
funny, his brother Lewis doesn't seem to notice that his the brother that he shares the room with is not actually like human or doing human things,
including Beta Alex removing his head and then fixing his ear and saying, "You're having a bad dream. Go back to sleep."
But see, that's the stuff in the movie that's fun.
It's fun. It
like,
is.
Everything they do with Beta Alex is fun, where it's stuff like that, or him like trying to figure out, wait, how am I supposed to make out with this girl?
Yeah,
or
why
like,
is she sticking her tongue in my ear?
You know, he starts copying all of the kind of I don't know what you would like romantic talk that the other couple is doing at the campfire.
Make out lake.
Yeah. And like, so he's trying to like imitate the humans and do what they do. But of course it has disastrous results because the other dude's a creep, you know? So it's all of this stuff that's actually very funny. And the actor is actually really fun as Beta Alex in a way that regular Alex is not very interesting and is just kind of, hi, I'm your hero and I'm learning all this kind of new stuff in space. Beta Alex is actually like, that's actually acting. Yeah. This is a guy who is kind of a robot cyborg thing, copy human thing, and he's trying to figure out how to be a human, and that stuff's fun. And he has personality, and he's funny. And, you know, it's interesting that all that stuff was shot later, apparently. This was all, like, the test audience was like, we want more of that. So they gave him more of that. And that's actually, this is one of the only times I've ever seen where the we want more of this thing works for a movie. Because so often it'd be like, hey, the test audience really liked blah, blah, blah. And, like, they throw in a whole bunch of that, and it's a very poochy situation, you know? But this isn't that. This actually works. Yeah. And it's weird that's the part of the movie that I like the most.
So regular Alex is like, he's lame.
Yeah, he's boring.
He spends most of the movie not wanting to be a hero. He's like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm in trouble, or like they could be shooting at me. I'm going back. Yeah. He goes back, what, like twice?
Yeah, I mean, I admire their commitment to following to the letter the steps of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, even to the point where, like, I'm going to reject the calling twice. All right, buddy. I mean, it feels so by the numbers, so rote, you know, and it's just like, but so this guy, he's not heroic, he's not that interesting, and he's like, I'm just good at video games. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it. Which is why it's weird to, like, intersperse it with, like, Beta Alex, who's kind of interesting and fun to watch. Yeah. You know? It's hard to really care about what's happening in space. Why do you care about Star Wars?
Because of the space.
Well, okay. Why is Star Wars easy to follow? Who's the good guys and who's the bad guys?
Because Han Solo is hot.
Han Solo is so hot.
Yeah.
And Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia is a personality.
Yeah.
Okay? She's a personality. Why? Not just because, you know, she acts really imperious at one point, and then all of a sudden, when she gets her hands on a blaster, she's just like a gun mall. She's great. Like, I don't know. There's just something about the way that Star Wars is able to make these people into characters and give them personality. And I don't know, you know, how much of that is script doctoring, which is frankly what every script needs. You always need somebody to come in and say, no, you know, snazz up these lines. Give this some personality. And so, and when it comes to Star Wars, sometimes that was Carrie Fisher doing that, you know. You need somebody to give people bits of personality so that even if you are a type, I'm, you know, the farm boy, the kid from the sticks who is turns out to be the hero. Yeah, it's the King Arthur story, you know? You have to make that guy interesting. At least with Luke, what's interesting about him is he has dilemmas. And it's not just like, I don't want to be a hero. He wants to be a hero. It's that, you know, the whole thing is like, I don't want to become like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
All right? Especially
I'm glad there wasn't a magic black man on Tatooine.
Oh God!
Like in this one. There's of course is he the super of the park? Who is he?
I don't know. Nobody's role on Earth was very clear, unfortunately. Yeah. You know,
you got to follow your dreams.
Yeah, there is a bit of the magical black man situation in this, which. We're not going to delve too much in that trope because there's not that much of it in here, but it's still kind of like, you got to roll your eyes at that man. I'm just like, oh, really? Is that what we're doing here? I did find the beginning interesting. The whole, he lives in a trailer park.
Yeah.
I thought that's the thing. It's not like there aren't interesting ideas in here. And I like that he lives very remote and it's this very small, tight-knit community so that like everybody kind of knows their neighbor.
And that was intentional to separate it from like E.T. and that kind of thing. Instead of the suburbs, it was supposed to be the suburbs, and this is more of a extended family, which was it worked. It
worked actually. You know, I thought that part was kind of neat, and the idea that everybody knows each other in this park, and they're all neighbors, and they all rely on each other. You know, it almost felt something like out of a movie from the 30s.
Yeah.
You know, like it felt like something.
Well, I kept comparing him to George Bailey.
Yeah.
Because, like, everybody's like, making him work on things, and he can't get a loan to go to some college or something.
That's right. Yeah, there is a whole thing. Like, he just wants to get out of this trailer park and see the world.
Yeah, like all these yahoos are like, going to parties at Makeout Lake, and he's like, I gotta fix the antenna.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing all of the scut work
Yeah.
in the trailer park, even though he is supposed to be, I don't know, maybe 18.
Yeah.
And he wants to go to college, and part of the film is he's been denied a loan to go to college, and he doesn't want to just go to what they call city college, which I think the idea is it's like community college. He wants to go to a real university. He wants to see the world. He wants to get out of town, which makes a lot of sense. He
wants to shake the dust off of this crummy old town.
Exactly. That's exactly what he wants to do. And unlike It's a Wonderful Life, he gets his wish here. He gets to actually leave the planet.
Yeah. Maggie was just going to turn into a librarian.
I know.
A librarian.
Instead, she gets to be a spaceman's wife.
Yeah.
Because that's the end of the movie is, they win the battle in space, whatever. And...
You know what? That is exactly as much as we should talk about that space battle, because it was so lame.
There was nothing
it
to
was
it.
Just like pressing the button, and then the bad guys are out dead.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Except for one.
Yeah, exactly. But there really wasn't much of a battle. That's the thing. Again, I'm sorry I keep going back to Star Wars, but that has a climactic battle at the end. They
Yeah.
blow up the Death Star. It's great. This is what happens in this. Do you even remember the battle? No.
I do.
You do?
I can tell you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Alex's big plan is to hide in an asteroid, and the whole fleet goes by, and the fleet is somehow like connected to the main gunship or the main battleship that the bad guys are in. And so they take out some main turret there, and then they go and so basically the other guys are blind, and then they do the Death Blossom, which is this special gun that's never been used before. And it spins around.
The Death Blossom sounds like a very spicy onion you get at the Outback Steakhouse. I want to eat the Death Blossom.
Yeah, that sounds like your speed.
It absolutely is my speed. They win, and then he's offered the job to like come and retrain a whole new army of starfighters. Since you're the last one, you get to set up a whole new crew. And so he goes back to Earth, basically to say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, he lands in his ship, and his alien friend comes down and shakes everyone's hand. And...
Yeah, the alien friend is basically just a lizard man.
Yeah.
I mean, no, that's literally all he is. He's just a lizard man. I don't even remember what his name is.
His comedic contribution is when he laughs, he goes, ha! That's it.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And he does it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, this is some subpar, like, late third season Star Trek makeup. I mean, it's nothing interesting.
That's the thing. Like the ships, like it basically looks like a war of the Star Trek shuttles.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
They're not very interesting, and it's just like a bunch of boxes flying around in space.
So he goes back to Earth and says, "Yep, I'm gonna go join this army in space, and goodbye, everybody." And Maggie's like, "Yeah, I'll come with you," and that's the end.
No, at first she's like, "I won't come with you because my grandma." There's all these like kind of conflicts that just feel like shoehorned in. Like here is the character flaw of this character,
and that's right, because it's like, oh, I have to take care of Granny, and it's like Granny's the one toting a shotgun. She's fine.
Yeah, she
doesn't need you, girl. And that's what the movie kind of wants you to come to the conclusion of. And so yes, she then is just Granny's just like, yeah, go ahead, enjoy space. So they go off together, and that's it.
Yeah, the Star League. I think it's the Star League.
Star League, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
yay.
Look, I think this is a perfectly good movie to show kids. I think they're going to have a lot of fun. I mean, maybe they won't like the outdated special effects.
Yeah.
But I get it. This is a fun movie when you're young.
Actually, I think this would be a great thing to remake.
You know what? Here's the thing. Yeah, you could definitely remake this.
Yeah.
Add some little better dialogue or characterization. But no, there's the plot is so like bare and easy to update.
Right.
And God,
better dialogue. Get a really hammy actor to be the Robert Preston.
Oh my God,
character.
who would be Robert Preston now?
I don't know.
Who has that kind of like hammy? I can do flim flam.
Yeah.
I'm a con man. Oh my God, who would? Oh, recast. Who is a good version of that now?
Robert Downey Jr.
No, absolutely not. No, here's the thing. Actually, you could do that, but no, he's too tied to Iron Man.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, he actually could be kind of fun.
He would be. Peter Capaldi. You know what? Lair the White Worm. You've heard of that movie?
I've heard of the movie. I've never seen it.
Is it on our list?
It is on our list.
He's in it.
Peter Capaldi's in that?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's going to be fun. No, but I kind of like the idea of, oh, no, but you know what? Now you're making me think of English dudes.
Yeah.
You know who I want? You know who I want in this? Ian McShane.
Oh, yeah.
Ian McShane.
He'd be great.
Yes. Ian McShane in the Robert Preston role.
Pottersville Ian McShane.
Yes. Yeah, just any version of Ian McShane. Yes, put him in this. They kind of tried to do that when they went and made a movie of The Dark is Rising, and that Privilege is terrible. So yeah, he's basically going to be doing the same thing, and he'd be great in this. I would love to see Ian McShane.
By the way, watch Pottersville. It's terrible.
It's a horrible movie, but I did enjoy it. So Ian McShane. Yeah, I don't know. Like anybody else, not coming to me, but he would be perfect.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got that. We got that figured out. You're welcome, Hollywood.
Please just back the truck up full of money to the porch. Yeah. You know. So yeah, remake it. Go ahead. Yeah. It wouldn't be hard to do. And the whole thing, it's like video games. Everybody plays video games all the time now. There is a scene in this where there's a bunch of people crowd around watching him playing, and I'm like, oh, that's just Twitch. It's just Twitch. All these people are sitting watching him play video games on the console, and people do that 24/7 these days. You could easily redo this movie.
Yeah.
And make it fun. So that was The Last Starfighter, starring Lance Guest, Robert Preston, and Catherine Mary Stewart.
And the rest.
And the rest, including apparently Will Wheaton with no lines.
Yeah.
I did not see him.
I think he had lines that got cut, and
that's fine.
Who cares?
I kinda. I'm still annoyed that he showed up in Picard. Yeah. Anyway, you can follow us on social media. We are Mary vs. Movies on Twitter, and we are maryvsmovies@gmail.com. Please write to us with any comments, questions, complaints, or suggestions. We would love to hear from you. We are available on all of the major platforms. We are on Apple Podcasts, where you can rate and review us. We are on Stitcher and Spotify and Google Play and, the whole gamut. If you want to go to the RSS feed from the Libsyn site and just plug it into whatever your podcatcher of choice is, you can always take us with you. We even have a Patreon now. We are patreon.com/MaryVSMovies. It's just we want to stay ad free, but this is taking time and money, and so if you can support us and would like to support us, that would be awesome.
We will be having swag.
Yes, we are actually working on swag, stickers and buttons and things like that. So it's not like you won't get any reward. But no, but you are obviously not obligated. We don't have like a behind the paywall sort of situation. It's just like, if you want to chip in and help us buy some new equipment and pay for the hosting, that would be cool. Next week.
Actually, before next week, if you heard our last episode with Tom Sharpling.
Yes.
If you've never heard The Best Show, it's his podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Spawned us. On this Tuesday, the 26th, he is going to do
26th of July, 2022.
Yeah. He's going to do a 24-hour episode of live of The Best Show.
Yeah.
So if you've never listened to it, just check in at some point.
Yes.
Because it'll be fun, whatever it is.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Now, for us, next week, I think we're finally going to do it.
What are we going to do?
I'm finally going to see Major League.
I thought we were flipping.
Here's the problem. I can't get my hands on the other movie that we were going to flip between.
Oh.
The other movie we were going to flip between. So here's the thing. If you hear this and you know of a way for me to get my hands on the movie One Crazy Summer, send it along. Because I can't seem to rent it online and the DVD from Netflix it just says long wait, which means I may never get it. So, putting the call out there. If you can get me a copy of One Crazy Summer, I would love you forever, or at least for a week. And in the meantime, if I cannot get my hands on that, next week's episode will be the baseball comedy Major League.
Yay.
Which Dennis has told me many times that I should see, and I have never. Well, yeah, why not? Charlie Sheen.
It's a lot of people. He
Okay.
is but one of 9.
Oh, fair enough.
It is
I know-
a baseball team.
Well, I know Bob Uecker's in it.
Yep.
So yes, next week probably will be Major League. So until next time.
I live below ground with my wifeoid and 6,000 little gringlings. Wifeoid.
Wifeoid.
That's some writing.
How did this not win Best Screenplay?
I know.